Hi guys, welcome to Hoops Junction. Boston Celtics take Game 7, 115 to 105. I picked the Wizards to win the series in 6, but as you saw in my last prediction video of Game 7, even though I made my pick for the Wizards to win in 6, I knew that they weren't going to win Game 7. And so I went with the home team. Even though I picked the series and I was wrong, I knew this Game 7, hey, Celtics had this in the bag. And there were three key factors if you remember. I had discipline, composure, and pick and roll defense. In this game, the Celtics had more discipline. They stuck to their game plan a lot better. They had more composure down the stretch. Even when they were down by 5 or 6 points, Bradley Beal was going off. He had 38 points. I believe in the third quarter they were down, and they still kept their composure, and they found a way to tie the game back up towards the end of the third quarter. And pick and roll defense. The Washington Wizards pick and roll defense was atrocious. It was atrocious. They kept trying to trap Isaiah Thomas, and that didn't work because he made the correct pass to Kelly Olynyk, and Kelly Olynyk gets the game ball. He had a huge night. He had 26 points. I mean, that's just unheard of. That's just unheard of. 26 points off the bench was crazy remarkable. And to me, he gets the game ball because if he doesn't hit the shots that he hits, then it's a whole different ball game. Kelly Olynyk had 26 points. He went 10 for 14 from the field. He went 2 for 6 from 3. Now, when you look at the Washington Wizards, they lack discipline. The team had a total of 15 turnovers, but it was like key turnovers and key possessions, which really hurt them. And then when you look at the Celtics team, they only had about 8 turnovers. So those 7 extra turnovers and key possessions hurt them really bad, especially when they were trying to make a run back into the game. Composure. They lack complete composure, especially with John Wall. John Wall fell in love with the jump shot today. He went 8 for 23. He went 1 for 8 from 3. 8 for 23 overall, 1 for 8 from 3. In the second half, he barely got any layups. I think Greg Anthony said it. In the fourth quarter, no layups at all whatsoever for John Wall. He fell in love with the jump shot because of the Game 6 big clutch shot that he hit. All of a sudden he thought he was converted into a three-point shooter. John Wall, you are not a three-point shooter. Leave that up to Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal went 50% from 3, 5 for 10 from 3. 12 for 22 from the field. So he had a really good game in terms of shooting. He had 38 points. So Bradley Beal was the guy that needed to take some of those extra shots. I mean, you can't shoot 23 shots, John Wall. Like, that's not your game. Shoot off jumpers. If he was attacking the basket, getting to the rack, that makes sense. John Wall went to the free throw line. He was 1 for 2. So he went to the free throw line once. So he wasn't aggressive in that second half. But that was basically the Celtics' game plan. You know, we're gonna put more pressure on John Wall and Bradley Beal, and we're gonna try to get some other guys to beat us. But here's the problem: John Wall didn't trust his teammates enough to make some of those decisions. I mean, he had 11 assists, and you're like, well, he didn't trust his teammates. Well, he's negative 11 from the plus minus. Same thing with Bradley Beal. It's negative 11 because down the stretch they didn't trust their teammates enough to make plays. And Morris had 18 points. He had a decent game, 7 for 14. Otto Porter, 6 for 10. He had a decent game. He had 20 points. Gortat didn't really do much rebounding wise. He had 11 rebounds. But here's the thing: down the stretch, when you needed those other guys to make plays for you, they couldn't because John Wall was too busy jacking up threes, which he had no business doing. It kind of killed their momentum, especially when they were in the lead. Like, you can't just keep shooting threes. You know what I'm saying? He hit 1 in transition, 1 3-point shot in transition. All of a sudden, he thinks he has the right to take 7 more, which was odd. And my friend had a really good quote about John Wall. He said John Wall's performance was almost Harden-esque. And when you think about that, if you look at James Harden in Game 6 against the San Antonio Spurs, he pretty much froze up, and he just wasn't aggressive. And John Wall was overly aggressive, but both of their performance mirrored each other because they hurt their team severely. And it was just like, come on, man, come on. Like, we have one guy who doesn't want to shoot, and then you have one guy who wants to keep shooting, but what they're both doing is hurting their team. So they're like doppelgangers. So that was crazy in itself to watch. You know, Washington Wizards overall shot 45% from the field, 34% from from three. And then when you look at the Celtics, 53% from the field, 42% from three. They had an overall great game. And then when you look at their assists, they had 27 assists, while the Washington Wizards only had 18. And I think that really, they shared the wealth. And here's the key to the game right now. Like I said, those three key factors. Washington, they just lacked discipline. They didn't execute the game plan. What got them the lead, posting up Isaiah Thomas, they went away from that down the stretch. Composure. In the final minutes of the game, not even final minutes of the game, like halfway through the fourth, they just started unraveling. And then their pick and roll defense was atrocious. And this goes to Scott Brooks. Scott Brooks had them trapping Isaiah Thomas every single play down the field in the pick and roll. And that did not work at all because Kelly Olynyk got loose. Marcus Smart got loose. If you look at Marcus Smart's numbers, Smart had 13 off the bench. And Brown, 9 off the bench. All of the points that they scored were basically because they kept trying to trap Isaiah Thomas in the pick and roll, and they left one guy free, and either Kelly Olynyk made the right decision or Marcus Smart made the right decision or Jay Crowder made the right decision. And they're playing like 4-on-3 basketball, or 4-on-3 basketball every single trip down the court. And that didn't help. And you know, some people will say, well, John Wall needs to fight over screens. And that's true, I agree. Same thing with Gortat. Gortat kept getting lost every single play with the pick and rolls. But that starts from the top. They didn't practice that enough. They didn't game plan enough. You have to understand that the Celtics' primary play at the top of the key is that 1-5 or that 1-3 or 1-2 pick and roll. They were killing them with that pick and roll. And every time Gortat got the switch, he didn't know what to do. He didn't know, are we trapping right now or are we letting them fight over the screen? Are we backing off? When they backed off, Isaiah Thomas killed them with 3. When they tried to trap, they killed them with the exit pass to release pressure. They hit the roll man or they hit the roll man. And guess what? That guy made the right play. And that guy tonight was Kelly Olynyk. So you got to give Brad Stevens a ton of credit for recognizing that the pick and roll defense of the Washington Wizards was very porous. It's like some of the worst I've ever seen. Because you got to factor this in. The Celtics, all right, they shoot a lot of threes, but they don't have like a knockdown, dead-eye three-point shooter that's going to kill you every single time. So you have to fight over those screens, and you have to make Isaiah Thomas go into the belly of the beast, which is the paint, and make him finish over the top. John Wall is no slouch. He could make him finish over the top. Same thing with a Gortat. Same thing with Morris. And I felt like Morris and Gortat on the interior, they just weren't enough, and they didn't communicate on defense. There was nobody on that back line that was calling out the plays. Like in the NFL, you have the middle linebacker. He's calling out the play. He sees something. He's like calling everything out. Nobody did that on defense. Nobody talked tonight for the Washington Wizards, and that killed them because they gave up 50% shooting, 53% shooting. They gave up 115 points. So, Game 6 was a different story where it was 92-91, and honestly, we could point the blame. Celtics overcame a deficit. They came back to win the game, but I really, really have to bring everything back to Scott Brooks because, to me, when I look at the Wizards team, they're the only team that can compete with Cleveland. So they had the talent. What are you doing on the X's and O's? He didn't make any adjustments. The last 5 minutes of the game, he barely made any adjustments. The Celtics continuously picked them apart. And he did not switch anybody on to Isaiah Thomas, or he did not take Gortat out of the game. Gortat on defense was a big liability. They were better off playing small, putting another guy in there that could actually slide his feet and be a defensive stopper, like Kelly Oubre. They probably should have just put Morris at the 5, Kelly Oubre as another defender, and that could have helped slow down the Celtics pick and roll, because the Celtics pick and roll was so potent and they just kept trapping, and that comes from the top, that comes from the head of the snake, which is the head coach. And this is why I'm not a big fan of Scott Brooks, due to the simple fact that in the NBA Finals, when the OKC went, they won one game, and then the last 4 games they lost because Scott Brooks did not make any adjustments. Every playoff spurt after that, every stint, he just failed to make adjustments in key moments. And it was just like his team was so talented. It's like, why couldn't you make it back to the finals? Or at least, get to the Western Conference Finals and really compete 7 games. The simple fact was Scott Brooks is not good with the X's and O's. And you can see that. Like the Celtics, every time they came down the court, they got a great shot. Or they got the action that they wanted. The Washington Wizards, it was just like give John Wall the ball or run a pin down from Bradley Beal. That simple pin down was too easy to defend. There was no ball movement, no player movement. There was no screening the screener to get into the pick and roll and get John Wall going downhill. He just didn't run anything effectively to assist the team. And the defensive scheme was horrendous. He should have just put Kelly Oubre in the game, put him at the top of the key, guarding Isaiah Thomas. Because at least he's like a bulldog defender. He's a lengthy defender. He's quick. So you got a guy in there that's quick, and he also can shoot threes. It's just like Scott Brooks didn't really know what he wanted to do. And I feel like he didn't put the Washington Wizards in a position to win the game. It's not like, we could really say like John Wall really stunk up the game with his shooting. It's true, but even if that was the case, they were still in the game. It's just like certain key adjustments Scott Brooks was failing to make it, and John Wall's not going to make those adjustments due to the simple fact that he's not like a Chris Paul or anything like that. He's not going to call certain things out because he's still trying to find his role and mature into his role as a leader of the team. So that was it. And then here's the key factor, which really killed me. Like, Bradley Beal has 38 points. Why don't you run some stuff where Bradley Beal gets in the post or get some more action where he's going downhill? Like run more plays for Bradley Beal, or use him as a decoy to get Morris open for some threes. Morris was 3 for 6 from 3. I'm pretty sure he could have got a couple more shots from the 3. See what I'm saying? Otto Porter could have got a couple more shots, in my opinion. He could have got a couple more post-ups on Isaiah Thomas. And that just goes with the head coach. It's always the head coach. I mean, I don't think that these players are mature enough to recognize certain aspects of the game to keep going back towards it. It's up to the coach to keep reiterating that. And I think Brad Stevens did a tremendous job tonight reiterating those key facts. Like, hey guys, we're running this pick and roll. Gortat doesn't know what he's doing. Kelly Olynyk, keep doing your thing. We're going to get you those mismatches. They kept running what worked, and Washington Wizards just failed to do so. Isaiah Thomas had an Isaiah Thomas game, 29 points, 12 assists. 12 assists was key. 12 assists was just key. It was key. Jay Crowder had 14 points. Al Horford had 15.6 rebounds. So it was all around great team effort. The Celtics bench came through for them in the clutch, and that was great. And it was just a really good game to watch. Congratulations to the Celtics. My friends are predicting that, hey, they're going to go there and they're going to get swept. They're going to go to the Eastern Conference Finals and get swept. I don't think they're going to get swept. I think the Cavaliers, well, I'll make another video for another time. I'll tell you how many games the Eastern Conference Finals are going to go. But right now, it's all about the C's. They played a great game. Congratulations. As far as the Wizards, I think this is a teachable moment. I feel like they know we have enough talent to play with anybody in the East. It's just maturity-wise, X's and O's wise, we need to get better. Defensively, we need to get better. And that starts at the top with the coach, and it starts with the 2-star players. And I think they'll be back. I think they'll be back, and I think there's going to be a key off-season acquisition that they can make to actually get a lot better. This is Vlad from Hoops Junction with Hoops Meets Hoopla. Peace.